Man. Ah. Man, you said something earlier when you first got on. You said something about meeting somebody famous or something like that. What who
Yeah,
is I don't know, man. That's a tough one for me. I'd probably say probably like fucking Leonardo DiCaprio or something like that. I
dude,
don't
I mean, who wouldn't want to meet him though?
know.
Like,
so so be
it is
honest with me
crazy.
though. Do you think Rose could have made room on that door? Or do
Oh,
you think it was just
100%.
100%? Okay.
Like, have you not seen the picture of them two? Like, they show Rose on the door. There's clearly enough room for a large man to be on that door with her. She's being
Yeah,
selfish.
I think that I think James Cameron had to make the movie end like that. I think the more I get older, the more like, oh, she sucks. But no, I think they had to do something. They had to
Ha-
end
have
in
you
order for
seen the
the.
theory that Inception is a sequel to Titanic?
Mm-mm.
Because the first scene of Inception is Leo washing up on a beach,
Oh wow. Ah.
and who it's all about going inside dreams. Who say that Titanic wasn't a dream he was in?
True. I did hear. I think it was Great Gatsby or something like that was supposed to be something to tie. I don't know, but anyways, episode number 8 today. We have Zach Williams here with us. Welcome to the show, man. How you been?
I've been good, man. Good to be on. My baby just turned 9 months old the other day.
Nice, nice. Congrats,
Yeah,
congrats. Yeah,
growing up
man.
so fast.
We got a nice little list of topics today that I know. So who would you want to meet? Tell me yours.
Uh, I I definitely have to say Nikola Tesla.
Ooh.
Like, he literally wanted to give the entire world free electricity. And then when his funder found out what he was doing, he shut down his funding. And
And
like, all of Thomas Edison's inventions just about were Nikola Tesla, and Edison just stole them and took credit for them.
hmm. See, that's one thing you never learn. I never remember hearing his name in school, not
No, I
once.
didn't. I don't even. I think it was like college, and it wasn't even in a class.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't. I think it was on History Channel. I think it was like maybe 4 years after high school. I was like, who's this?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
like,
what I'm saying. No one knows who he is.
how many other people are there in history like Tesla that did these great things that someone else took credit for?
Probably more than you would want to know about, more than likely. That's actually a really good question. Um, and didn't isn't that where Tesla got their name from? Isn't didn't Elon get like
Yeah.
a was he pretty influenced by him?
Oh yeah, definitely. There was someone else that he was thinking about naming his company after, but
Mm-hmm.
he ended up going with Tesla, and it makes sense. An electric car, uh, so everyone doesn't have to use gas; they can use electricity. Nikola Tesla, wanted to give the world free electricity, so kind of makes sense. Goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah. You're I think didn't you tell me you had stock in Tesla? So
Yes, I do.
you are actually like in it
Oh,
financially with
100%.
Tesla.
Like, it is the first thing I do when I wake up. I see if there is any stock updates while I was asleep, and I check the stocks right before I go to bed. I think everyone should buy Tesla. Uh, and if you don't know about the stock market, there's a free app in the App Store called Robinhood. And if anyone wants to sign up, I can send you a link, and we both get a free stock when you sign up.
So if you do want to do that, find him on Facebook, send him a message, and he will set you up. That is actually I've actually played a little bit in the stock market. It's been a while though, but man, that shit is I won't say addicting is the word, but it's fun.
It
It's
is, especially when you're making money.
Yeah,
There's there's
it
there's
changes
been
every second.
days
Every second
there's
something's
been
changing.
days I've been down quite a bit of money, and I just think, why do I even do this? And then 2 days later, I got it all back and more, and I'm like, okay, this is why I do this.
So, did you lose a lot of money in March whenever it went back down, or did?
Actually, I kind of saw it coming, so I sold my stocks, and it was right after stocks kind of bottomed out. They started coming back up a little bit. I bought back in.
Okay. Yeah, I was. Dang, that's. So you said you saw it coming, not as in like you physically saw it coming, but like what was it? Just something like a sense feeling,
Yeah,
like.
yeah. I just kind of felt the way the virus was progressing and how everyone was reacting to it. And stocks had already started to drop a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I don't see that, because I was one of those people when it first happened. Me and Danielle and Baylor, we stayed in our apartment for weeks. Like
Wow.
the only the only time I left for, like, I was out of work for like 6 weeks. The only time I left my apartment in that time was to go to the grocery store, and then it was straight back home. So
Okay.
I I really bought into it. I thought, like, this is gonna kill a lot of people. I mean, it has, but in my mind, it was gonna be way worse than it's ended up being.
Mhm.
And I was like, the stock market's gonna tank. Like, our economy's gonna crash. And then thankfully, that didn't completely happen. There's a big drop, but we've already recovered. Like, we're past our pre-pandemic stock numbers now.
I did see that. Yeah, I was actually, man, I felt the same way that you did. I remember I didn't. It was probably early March. And I remember I was watching an episode of Joe Rogan. He said he had this one doctor on, and like this is when the numbers were like, a lot of people like you stated are gonna, a lot more people than what they thought. And that's when I really started thinking. I was like, man, this shit might be for real. But then, you know, some areas were worse than others. And yes, I think there's been 170,000 plus, which that is a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
But as in the numbers that they were talking about before, I did take it serious at first. Now, you know, but yeah, I completely understand that. I was out of work
Yeah,
for probably I think maybe like 4 weeks, maybe something like that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
I was out long enough to where I got that 600 unemployment. I think 1, maybe 2 weeks, and then my boss called and said, "Hey, we're going back to work."
that's
And
good though. I mean, at least you got
I
that call
mean,
back. That's
yeah, yeah, definitely. It is nice to have a job again. It would have been nice to get that 600 a few more weeks, but I mean,
yeah,
be happy with what you get, right?
that's true. So what? So I have to ask you before we kind of go on. Where do you see this ending at? Like, do you see like months wise? Do you see this ending? Some people say after the election. Some people say next year. And you got those 5-10% people that say we're never going back to what it used to be. What's your thoughts on that?
Um, I think the media will stop a lot of the hype after November.
Hmm.
The virus isn't going away.
No,
Like, even before it got so politicized and stuff, there were scientists saying it's going to be like the seasonal flu. It's going to keep coming around. So I don't really know when we'll get to the point where it won't be a problem, but I mean, I could see it being like the flu. Like, how many people die every year from the flu, and we just live with it?
mm-hmm.
Like, I kind of feel like the same type of thing is going to happen with this.
That's what I was thinking. I really do think that I think it will calm down a little bit after the election, depending on who wins. I don't like you said. I don't think the virus is not going to just go away with the election. It's not going to. That's impossible.
Yeah.
But I do think, depending on who wins, you will see a change of tone, whether it be the media or whoever. So I do see that. I'm probably thinking like springtime. Everything will kind of come back around. I think you'll start seeing more, sports coming back, more of actually fans coming back, which we'll talk more into that too. But yeah,
Hopefully.
I'm thinking springtime for me. That people are going to start coming out of their house, and I think it really depends for a lot of people is the vaccine. Without the vaccine, some people is going to stay in their house. They're going to continue to stay in their house.
Well, it
But
also depends where you live. Like
true,
here in
true.
West Virginia, we weren't hit very hard.
Compared to
Like,
states around us, no, we were not.
yeah, and then you got cities like New York and LA where you have a million people. Like, it's impossible to social distance unless you're locked in your apartment or house.
Yeah,
So in West Virginia, there's not as many people. It's easier to kind of go out and do things. Like go on a hike, you might not see anyone during the whole hike. Go out on the river. Like there's so many things you can do to get out of your home and still not be around people.
yeah. It's a good point. Good point. Well, I know I've been waiting to get you on to talk about this. What's your feelings on the Jeffrey Epstein?
Oh
Well, I know.
gosh.
Do
I
you-
have a lot of feelings about the whole
I
Epstein thing.
tell me this: was Tom Hanks? Was he a part of it? Because I've been seeing shit on Facebook. I don't want it to be true. Is Tom Hanks a part of it? Or who do you think is a
I,
part?
that's so tough. Like, there's so many rabbit holes you can go down on that one. Like, I know there's rumors about Tom Hanks, Ellen, Oprah, like Bill Clinton, but he definitely was involved. Like, there's no way Clinton wasn't involved with Epstein.
Ooh. I think
And honest,
yeah, I did read something on him. It was between '02 and '05 was the Bill Clinton. That's when he was supposedly involved with all that. Was '02 to '05 or something like that.
and just the other day, I saw a picture came out of a girl that was a known victim of Jeffrey Epstein giving Bill Clinton a back massage. And if you watched the Netflix special about Jeffrey Epstein, you know what happened during his back massages.
Oof. That's man, something I don't think he killed himself. I'll tell you that right
Oh,
now.
no chance. He got
That's
suicided.
yeah, he did have apparently there was a guy wrote an article, it was for the New York Times, came out right after he had committed suicide and stated that he had dirt on tons and tons of famous people.
Oh, for
Whether
sure.
whether who that would be, I think somebody even said, I think you might have said it, is Hollywood's full of pedophiles and rapists. Or somebody
Uh,
have said that. Yeah, I think
yeah,
somebody.
I was quoting someone on that.
Yeah, who did
Shoot, it was Corey someone. I forget his last name. He was like some child star from the 80s.
Oh, you talking about the dude from the Goonies?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I forget his last name, but apparently he's been trying to like get the pedophilia and rapists in Hollywood exposed for 20, 30 years now.
Hmm. Yeah, it's I don't know. I do think now will we see a a pitfall of people coming out, will there be charges brought up? I just don't see that happening with all this. As much
Well,
as I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. I just don't see that happening with a lot of these people.
I don't. I've seen that there is currently what's it called? Like sealed indictments and something like an asterisk, like thousands of sealed indictments. And indictments are sealed. They usually use them in like huge drug cases or like conspiracies that have a bunch of people involved, like things where you can't arrest one person at a time.
Hmm.
The only way to actually end it is to arrest everyone at the same time. So, in these sealed indictments, there's apparently thousands of them that are supposedly linked to sex crimes and child trafficking crimes and stuff. And they just have to go through all of these. And once they all get processed, basically, they are going to swarm and arrest all of them.
Mm.
So we'll see if anything happens with that. Like, then if you want to go down all the QAnon stuff, like, that's just so much stuff. The one thing that discredits QAnon the most for me, though, is how Trump is the savior and he is like here to end all the crimes when
Hmm.
he was real good friends with Epstein. There's so many pictures and videos of them hanging out, laughing, just
Yeah.
doing things together. Like, you're gonna tell me you're friends with that dude, and you don't? He never mentioned like, hey, I can get you a 12-year-old if you want it.
I feel like, yeah, if there's somebody, it would had to have come up somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
even even if Trump didn't partake in any of it, he had to have known, and
yeah,
that makes you complicit if you know and do nothing about it.
yeah, true. It's yeah, that's yeah, man. I would love to be inside of her head and know exactly what she knows. Maybe not necessarily because it's probably very disgusting and it's some
You're
shit I don't
talking
want to
about
know.
Keelan.
Yeah, yeah, her. Because I know
Yeah.
she knows some shit and she does some shit.
Oh yeah. I'm
So
so.
yeah, that's I don't
But
know, man.
how long's it been since we heard anything about her?
That's been kind of quiet. Which I mean,
Like, what? Maybe a month ago? Maybe 3 weeks?
yeah, the national media. Now, that's one thing about me is I try to stay away from the national brands of the national media. I'll skim through it and check a couple things out, but you
Yeah.
know, every
I
time it's all coronavirus whenever you go on their election. That's it.
yeah. Or there's a riot or another looting.
Yeah.
Like, they they don't talk about the peaceful protest part of it. Like
No.
because like from what I've been seeing, just about all the protests have been peaceful during the day, and then at nighttime, a whole other group comes in. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe some of the protesters might stay and root, loot, and riot a little bit, but like it's kind of like night and day, like
Yeah.
two different things completely going on. And what sucks is the rioting and looting discredits all the good stuff that the protesters have been doing.
Yeah. I mean, it does. You know, and that's the thing I feel most bad about is you got a lot of these people, they fight in the good fight. They want, to bring, change and everything. But then you got people coming behind them. It gives it a bad name.
Yeah,
And
just
the
like
media, yeah, the media will take that and run with it all the time.
yeah, just like the 17-year-old boy. What was it? Yesterday, 2 days ago, shot 3 people, killed 2 of them.
Where was this at?
In Wisconsin, where
Oh,
that dude
uh,
just got shot in the back 7 times.
I heard about that. I didn't hear about the actual other shooting with the. I didn't hear
Yeah,
anything about that.
it was a 17-year-old boy. He lived about 30 minutes away and drove up there. He said he was there to protect businesses and stuff. And I was reading an article, it might have been in the New York Times, maybe, but apparently he was up there and they followed all the videos of him they could find. He was he had a gun, like a I don't know much about guns honestly, but some type of rifle. Like He was there and protecting a car dealership, and like police were cool with it, which why wouldn't you be? Like, they're not causing any problems. They're just there to protect a business.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently at some point he left the dealership and was walking around the neighborhood. And then they say in the next video of him you see, he's kind of getting chased, and he turns around and shoots somebody. Shoots. Because, I mean, self-defense, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a lot of people saying that he's in some, like, right-wing militia groups, like, white supremacy groups. I don't know about any of that. But, I mean, from the video I saw, it does look like he was defending himself. I don't know what happened at before those videos were taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what made those people chase him? I don't know about that. But, yeah, he shot one dude in the head, another dude in the stomach, and he died. And then a third guy in the arm. And he got arrested. I think it was yesterday he got arrested. So,
man, everything's fucking crazy right now. I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a really weird time in America. Like,
I mean,
and this whole year, like the whole George Floyd thing, it couldn't have happened at a worse time.
Oh God.
Everyone was locked up. They were anxious and depressed from being inside, and then they see that, and it just was like lighting a match to gasoline.
Oh, yeah, that
loaded.
Yeah, I don't. It's I'm a very what's the word I'm looking for? I like to look on the bright side. I like to think better days are ahead, which I do believe. I think 2020. Yeah. I think 2020 is one of those years that shows you America has a long way to go in a lot of things. America's never has been perfect on a lot of issues, dating back to the beginning to now. I do think there's better days ahead with it, regardless of who wins the election. At the end of the day, we all need to come together of some sort, and quit this political divide shit that has this, race or whichever, we're all Americans and everything. And until then, we're going to be divided. And, we stand divided, we fall. That's going to continue to happen until we're able to get past that. And we've got to realize that there is issues that need to be corrected. There's issues that, some people never had to deal with and some people do deal with, but, that's a subject for a different day though. But,
just because it doesn't happen to you doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah. And not every cop is bad. Majority of cops are really good people,
I mean, it's just like that with every group. Like, not all Republicans are bad, but you'll have Republicans do some crazy stuff, and everyone will be like, "Oh man, all these Republicans are crazy," or you'll have a few like liberal people like come out with some crazy ideas, and they're like, "Oh, all these liberal snowflakes are ridiculous," and like most people get their news off Facebook.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
how can you trust when you're seeing everything on Facebook?
I think that's the problem too. Like, not just getting your news from Facebook, but these things. I think they have their good purposes to it. I think it's good for a lot of ways. Safety, this and that. But, and that goes to the news media too. How we talked about before, is the news is a 24/7 news cycle now.
Oh,
it's not like how it used to be. At the end of the day, you come on for 30 minutes and that's it. Now a news cycle has to, fill everything all the time. And you can go on your phone and look whatever you want up. And I think that's some of the problems.
When's the last time you turned on the news and it didn't say breaking news at the bottom of the screen? Like they have breaking news every hour, and it's just crazy how you you put breaking news in front of something that doesn't even really matter, and people are like, "Oh no, this is important."
Oh, dude, it's that's I think a lot of the problem, you know, and there's not you can't do nothing about it. You know, it's something that's already been set in motion. You know, a lot of this news media is just that's the way they do things now. You know, at least for the foreseeable future, that's how it's going to be. You know, so you know, and the cell phone thing, that's people will continue to get cell phones, and they're going to continue to be able to see the news. You know, in the palm of their hand. You know,
Oh
record
yeah,
stuff, this and that. You know, rightfully, or wrongfully. You know, but yeah, that's the problem that we face today, and I don't see a way around it. It's just something that's going to have to play itself out.
yeah. I mean, I've like been able to admit to myself like fairly recently, the last week or two, that I'm addicted to my cell phone. And like, really, when's the last time you went like 1, maybe 2 hours without at least looking at your phone?
Oh
I mean,
man,
it,
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 I've
it
done
might
it.
happen some.
Yeah,
It's
but
not often though.
you're
It's
thinking
just
about
like,
it. You're thinking
yeah,
about
even if it's
it.
just
Yeah,
like a smoke, it's just like a smoker, just like an alcoholic, a heroin addict, meth, whatever you want to put in the place, like it's the same thing in your brain. You can't go without it. Like, have you ever left your house without your cell phone? You turn around and go back and get it.
yeah. Mostly for my music, but I mean, but no, yeah, I see exactly what you're saying exactly because you know there's something when you forget your phone. You know, I think that's the social media aspect of it is the anxiety of when you put shit out there. It could be just any type of post. Period. You could just put out, "Hey, I'm having a great day today," and you're in the back of your head, you're worried that someone's going to put something bad on it, or you
Oh
know,
yeah.
yeah, and it feeds in the back of your head, and you stress yourself out. You have to constantly be looking at it, and you have to constantly, man, what is this person doing? What is this person doing? You know, and that's the fucked up thing about social media. You know, that does that to somebody. You know,
Yeah, like
and,
it was a good concept when it first came out to connect us,
yeah,
like bring us together, and it's just went crazy.
yeah. I even deleted Twitter. Like I got off Twitter. Like once the
Yeah,
coronavirus thing happened, you know, mostly I got on for sports. You know,
yeah.
but no, it's
Honestly, like if I use Twitter, usually it is for something sports related, or if like there's some type of story that I couldn't find what I was looking for on Google, I'll see what I can find on Twitter. And
yeah,
usually there's people on Twitter talking about it.
yeah, yeah. That's and you know, I enjoy Twitter. I loved it. You know, it just became a cesspool of negativity and just you know one person's bashing one person and then bashing the other, and it's you
I
know
mean, you do have the ability to follow and unfollow people though,
true. That's
so
true. But
you
it
could
when
customize it.
yeah when it would become negative would be like say if you go to like trending shit like that. You know, you go through
Okay, yeah,
you see the news and stuff,
the
and then
things that most people
yeah
are talking about.
yeah it's not the actual like you know who you follow and stuff because you know you can always limit that. But yeah, to the actual like you know trending, you're like oh fuck this piece of shit or you know what I'm saying like
So
and
like basically anyone that posts anything,
basically yeah. So I would
like
say probably 75% of all Twitter, maybe even 85% of all Twitter users are great. You have that 15%, they're just shitty people.
yeah, they see someone with a blue check mark and they're like, that looks like a bullseye to me.
Yeah, you know, and but yeah, hopefully we I just don't see the whole social media thing because kids are getting younger and younger. They're getting it, and that shit, that's just downright scary almost if you think about it.
Oh,
You know,
definitely. Like,
It-
it's
yeah,
crazy what kids today, like, they do stuff that we could have never even imagined when we were kids.
no, and like that's the thing. Think about it like this: you have kids in middle school now getting cell phones. Could you imagine you're 12, 13 years old with an iPhone,
Oh,
all that in the palm of your hand?
I think I was like 13 or 14 when I got my first phone, but it was like that blue Nokia brick phone, the
Yeah,
one that was basically indestructible. I
yeah.
had Snake. I could play
Snake,
Snake on
yes.
it. That is,
Everybody,
I could make phone calls and play Snake.
yeah. And there's nothing, that because that way if you need to call somebody, but man, like, you know, man, it's just I could not imagine having like an iPhone or any type of social media. I know we had like MySpace, AIM and stuff like that, but that's kind of mind blowing. Just you're wrapping your head around being 12 years old and being on social media like that constantly. Uploading pictures, this and that.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy to me.
for sure. And like some of the things people will do just to get a like.
Yeah. Oh, girl. I mean, especially in middle school, girls are ruthless. They, or even high school, even, but middle school, man, you have even guys, you're growing at such a rapid pace. And, you throw a cell phone in there, girls, that's all they do is fight over dudes. That's all
That's
it,
all.
that's all
That's
it
all
is.
boys do.
Yeah. But after boys fight, that's it. They call it quits. I'm like, hey,
Sure.
girls, I mean, they're just, and I just think, man, the social media thing, can't control it though. It's just something that's it's going to have to happen, and you're going to need people when they get older to teach the kids, hey, this is what you do and you don't do, because that shit
Yeah.
can literally destroy
I
something.
mean, I I think a lot of it comes down to parenting. Like I've had to think about parenting a lot in the last year and a half. Like how am I going to raise my daughter? Like what do I need to teach her? What's right? What's wrong? Like it it's a lot. I think if you're not actively thinking about how you're going to raise your child, you're
Mm,
probably not going to do that great of a job, honestly.
yeah,
Like it's tough.
yeah. See, that's one thing, man. I don't have a kid. Maybe one day, and I could not imagine. You know, maybe hopefully one day, but just bringing a kid in, raising a human being, that in its own self, what I'm saying, kudos to you on that,
It it is the scariest and best thing I've ever done. Like I am constantly afraid that I am messing up, but it is amazing watching her grow up. Like
yeah,
9 months ago, she wasn't even here, and
yeah,
now she's standing up by herself, starting to talk. Like she can take one step. She's not quite to walking yet, but it's crazy like how much they change on a weekly basis at this age.
man, that's nuts, man. Congrats and everything. I couldn't imagine, how you feel on that. Even when I'm around like my niece and nephew, and they're, eating food or they're doing something, I'm always afraid they're gonna get hurt, shit like that. It makes
Yeah,
me, just imagine being a 9 month old. And yeah, it takes a lot to be a parent, and
it
some,
definitely does.
and that's one thing
I
this world does need in the long run is better parenting and in the long run for that to, for the world to become, what it needs to be. That's the first step is, growing up in a great household, stuff like that. And you'll,
I mean because kids know nothing.
no,
Like they have to be taught everything. And if you're not teaching them, who is? The people on
True.
Facebook, people on Twitter going to teach them how to live? Like, we've already talked about how toxic social media can be. If that's where they're learning everything, you think they're not going to grow into a toxic person?
That's a great point. It's that's right on the head on it, because it's either that, or if they're never home, they're gonna be running around with their buddies or whoever, and what are they gonna be doing? You know, we were teenage boys at one time.
Oh, for
Granted,
sure.
you have a girl, but you know, you can see, and I'm pretty sure you've been around it. You can see what happens when parents aren't around. Especially at that young of an age. Drugs, whichever. It's going to
Yeah.
be
I mean,
around, and that's
like, just like on friends and stuff that I had growing up, seeing how hard it was on them without a mom or without a dad or without either.
mm,
Like, it it definitely plays a role in mental health.
oh, 100%. That's one thing. When I was in high school, all my buddies, the one thing that we had in common was that all of our parents were divorced, you know, and all of us lived with our moms, and I think having a father figure in the house is one of the most crucial things. Now, don't get me wrong, my dad was around, I have a great dad, you know, but coming from a divorced house, you see that, growing up, and you see how your buddies react as well. That's very, very crucial, is having both parents in the house. Now, some people are not very fortunate when it comes to that, but having, active family, loving, caring family, that goes a long way, in growing up and everything, just from experience and everything. But, um, that's one thing in this world, definitely needs more of, is the household back, like parents, not necessarily they need to stay together, but being there for their kids whenever they can and all the time. Some people, it just happens they can't. Stuff happens in life, but it's just one of those things that needs to be more around today than ever. But
Yeah, for sure.
so yeah, but yeah, man, that's awesome stuff though, about being a father and everything. I know you do a damn good job of it, so that's pretty fucking awesome. So
Yeah. I try my best.
what's the daughter's name?
Baylor.
Okay. Is your name after like Baylor University, or was it something what's
No, I actually had a friend whose little sister was named Baylor,
okay?
and when I suggested it, Danielle liked it, so
Okay.
we went
How's
with
it
it.
spelled? Is it
The same as the school.
okay?
But
That's
I don't know. Maybe when she's 18, we can get her some type of scholarship down there.
so.
We'll see.
Speaking of Baylor, uh, what's your feelings on college football this year? What do you think is going to happen? I know it's a
I'm
lot of
really,
shit going on.
I'm really hoping WVU's first game is in 2 weeks, like it's scheduled right now.
Dang,
Uh,
it doesn't even feel like football season to me. It doesn't even feel like September. Well, almost September. It really doesn't to
what's
me.
crazy is it was supposed to start. What, today's Thursday? It was supposed to start probably today, or if not this weekend.
Let me see. I think you're right. I think it was, yeah, it was supposed to be
Because I mean, they always have those Thursday night games. Like this might have been week one
the 5th of
because
September.
was the first game.
Yeah, the
Oh,
5th.
for
Yeah.
WVU, but like college football in general would have been starting soon.
Man, that would have been. I would have really enjoyed that. Being a Falcons fan and seeing W play in Atlanta, I love it. Like being.
Yeah, I was really excited to see the Florida State game too. Unfortunately, we're not going to get it this year, but I don't know. Maybe things will play out in both our favors and we'll see them in the playoff.
Yeah, I don't. I'm curious to see how it's an ever changing thing. It's kind of really settled down a little bit. I know Conference USA last weekend came out and stated they're not playing this fall.
Okay.
That's fall, volleyball. That's track. Whichever
Yeah.
plays this
Just
fall.
all
Yeah,
fall sport.
all fall sports completely gone. The NCAA's even came out, canceled all fall championships except for football.
Okay.
So you know, but I was really hoping that everyone would play, and I don't know how I feel about spring football. More football, the better, I guess. But we'll see. I think it's got a really good shot. But
Yeah. The only thing I've seen negative about spring football is how some of the top players
won't play.
that because they wouldn't be eligible for the draft because they'd be in the middle of a football season.
That's true. And then think about
And
this
then
too: the draft. The draft's in April. Got the combine. You got all that.
yeah, and like all the Big Ten, how many first rounders does Ohio State have on their team?
Well, I know Justin Fields. I mean, he'll be a first round pick. So he's probably gone. I know that for a fact. I don't think he'll. That's curious.
Well,
I'm curious to see if he'll play though.
did
What's
you
the
see
point
they
of
were
playing?
did you see where they were talking about letting a few of the Big Ten teams join and play with another conference this season? I don't know how much traction that got, but it was an idea that was thrown out there.
I know that Nebraska. I know the Big Ten came out and Nebraska mentioned it, and they threw a
Yeah.
fuss.
Okay.
So and I know Ohio State's kind of looked around, but yeah, the Big Ten's not going to let. I don't think they would never let one of their teams play another conference because all that would really do is that would just cause problems later on down the road for other issues. Like, man, I actually enjoy playing this conference. Let's leave these bums. Let's get out of here. I
Sure.
think that. But Nebraska, I bet they're really, really hating themselves for leaving the Big 12. Now they do get more money, but you know I don't think they're a good fit in the Big Ten. My honest opinion, but just like we're not a good fit in the Big 12 when it comes to actual geographical.
No, geographically, we should probably be ACC,
Yeah,
maybe SEC.
I think the ACC would be the best conference for us. You get to play Pitt, Virginia Tech, Syracuse,
Syracuse,
Virginia, even. You
and
know, uh,
Miami.
Miami. I mean, all the
Yeah.
Boston College, all the teams that you played, Louisville,
I mean,
even. You know,
like half of the ACC now used to be Big East.
yeah, you had probably about 6, 7 of those teams, probably. Yeah, Boston
Yeah.
College, Miami, Louisville, Pitt, Syracuse. Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 or 7, probably, give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are they a
it's
16-team conference? Or 14?
14, 14, I believe. Because I know
Okay.
Notre Dame is it's, I want to say they're 14. Yeah, I want to say they are 14 because Notre Dame's like an associate member of some sort. So
Yeah.
like
They're
yeah,
a member in like everything except football.
yeah. But literally, the ACC they're letting them compete for the ACC championship this year though
Yeah.
because of
But
scheduling.
I would say if they get to the championship game and win it, don't give it to them unless they say they're going to stay in the ACC.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
The
been the
only
need to Notre Dame. That's
the only reason Notre Dame is not in their football conference is because they have their own TV deal.
yeah,
So
they ain't
they want
bankrupt
to,
that.
yeah, and they don't want to share it with a conference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame Notre Dame for doing that. I really don't.
No,
But
but
it's
like if you're going to do that, don't let them in your conference in every other sport. Make them
true.
go independent and everything else.
Yeah, I think those days are coming to an end, especially for Notre Dame. Notre Dame can outlast any independent money wise because they do have
Oh,
that
for
independent
sure.
TV deal. But I think eventually they're going to have to join a conference. It's eventually going to have to happen.
I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, they just have so much power. Like it seems like Notre Dame football. It was. It's one of the like old time like most prestigious schools. Like back in the day, Notre Dame was like Alabama or Clemson today,
Yeah.
and like that stigma, it just isn't going to fall from them.
No, that's
So,
true. I mean, that's Notre Dame is always going to have that name recognition. When you think about college football, you think about Oklahoma, you think about Alabama, you think about Notre Dame, you think about USC. You think about those teams. Even though USC's been dog shit, for the last 10 plus years, except for maybe a couple seasons here and there. But for the
yeah,
most
ever
part,
since.
yeah, ever since they had that issue with them heyday, they had there in the mid 2000s. But yeah, USC. You think about college football, you think about USC though. It's just the way it goes, and it always will be like that. Oklahoma's another one. Texas. I mean, Texas can go 5-7, and they'll still be ranked next season.
Oh, they're going to be back next year.
Yeah, they're gonna be
They're
back
back
next year. It's like
every year. They're going to be back. I'm
yeah,
still waiting for them to really be back.
yeah. I mean, I want Texas to be good. It's good for the conference. This and that. And I remember even going to Texas there. In high school and everything. Man, that was when Texas was still. That was when they had Colt McCoy. I mean, Texas was. Oh, they were still legit. Just won the Natty probably like 2 years before. Yeah, man. Everybody down there loves Texas. Like
Oh,
it's not like TCU. It's not Texas A&M hardly. Now A&M's got their fans in certain areas. It's not Texas Tech. It's Texas. Like Texas
yeah.
is like the W down there in a way.
Oh,
Now
for sure.
if
Like,
you go to these small areas like Dallas, Fort Worth is going to have your TCUs, your SMUs, and stuff. But no, it's Longhorns. That's what it is. Now A&M is probably the second most, but no, it's from what I realized from it, it's all Texas down there for the most part. That's just my
definitely.
opinion. Yeah. So,
I mean,
um,
like here, it's WVU just about everywhere until you get to Huntington and some of the southern counties. Then you
yeah,
start seeing a little bit of green.
yeah. You get
But
to Putnam
I mean,
County there. Yeah, it's
blue and gold covers most of the state.
yeah. I would love to see a poll in Huntington though. Like, how many people actually root for Marshall compared to W though?
Yeah.
I would not be a bit surprised. I need to do that one day. I need to go to Huntington and I need to do a
I
poll.
I would say it's definitely gonna lean towards Marshall,
It probably would.
not not it, overwhelmingly Marshall. But I mean, you'd get a few WVU.
I say
Like
64.
my
64.
cousin went to Marshall, and every year when they played WVU, he'd be sitting in the student section in blue and gold. Yeah, they didn't like that very much.
Well, here's been my thing about it. I root for Marshall whenever, they when they don't play WVU, stuff like that. I want them to do good. But would I be afraid to wear WVU shit in Huntington? No. Now would I
Oh,
want I wouldn't want to
no.
wear Marshall shit in Morgantown, no. I wouldn't want to do that. But
Yeah.
I would, I don't feel like I'm out of place when I wear W shit in Huntington. It just doesn't. It's
Oh,
like okay,
no.
it's just
I mean, I wouldn't go as far to wear it in the Marshall student section.
no, no. But
You're gonna feel really out of place there. But
yeah,
I mean, just walking around the city itself, like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I've walked around Huntington in WVU clothes,
yeah. I
but
mean,
I've never even thought about going to Morgantown with a green Marshall shirt on.
no,
I remember when we played LSU. I was up at school in Morgantown, and my uncle, I think he graduated from LSU,
Hmm.
so he flew up for the game, and we were walking on High Street, just got some lunch, catching up and stuff, and I can't tell you how many students just yelled things at him for wearing purple.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's man. Do you follow much like the? I know you follow like the football, the basketball and stuff. Do you follow any of the baseball stuff or anything? Or
Um, I don't. I catch bits and pieces here and there, but I haven't really paid too much attention to it now.
yeah, it was. That was a nice atmosphere though. The regional game for the NCAA tournament last year, 2019, when Morgantown hosted one. That was a lot of fun. That it felt
Yeah,
like it
yeah,
was
okay.
loud. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about MLB,
No, no,
but
no.
no, I definitely did pay attention to some of the college baseball. Like
Mhm.
they turned their team around. Like WVU's the contender in baseball now.
Yeah, they still got a ways to go. You know that game. I've dealt with some shitty losses in my life, sport wise, but man, that one sucked. I remember we were up. I think it was like 9-1 or something like that. It was in the middle of a rain delay, so we
Yeah,
stopped play for like an hour, hour and a half, and it was a Sunday evening, and they started getting back in the game. They hit a grand slam, came back into it, and we got to the bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 3-2 count, and the dude suckers it right over the left field wall. Yeah, lost the game on a fucking grand slam. I felt like that was one of the shittiest drives from Morgantown to Bellevue I've ever had in my entire life. But
yeah. I I think my worst was driving back from the pit game. We lost 13-9.
oof,
That's a tough loss.
I
The
think would have made that one shitty is just the what was at stake, and you knew you should have
yeah,
won that game.
yeah, you were like, what was it, 20-point favorites?
I think 20,
And
21 points, something like that. 28 even, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, and when you win this rivalry game against a team that's like 2-8, 2-9, something like that at the time, you're going to the national championship.
Yeah.
Like, I was so excited. And then, did our offense even score a touchdown that game? Or was it 3 field goals?
I know
Did they?
McAfee missed. He missed a
He
few.
missed. He missed 2 or 3. But how'd we get 9? Did we go for 2 at one point? We we might have scored a touchdown and went for 2 to give us 10, make it a 3-point game.
Let's see here. It was a 28 and a half point favorite. His Pitt was
Okay.
4-7. Let's see. We scored a touchdown there in the second quarter and got a safety as well.
Oh, okay. That's where the 9 came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, and on top of that, it was just cold. That was a very cold game. I was freezing.
That's oh wow.
Yeah, it's and then you had Pat White getting hurt, taken out of the game,
Yeah.
and the very last drive they put him in and just couldn't get it done on fourth down.
So before we get off here, I want to ask you this about that game since you were there, and I know this was the hot button topic right after that game and not long, and it still is in some areas. Do you, looking back on it after thinking about it, do you think that Rich Rodriguez blew that game?
Oh, for sure.
You think
I,
you think he did?
I think he knew about the Michigan job before the game. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I mean, Pat White did get hurt and taken out of the game, but you saw him on the sideline in Rich Rod's ear. Put me back in the game. I want to go in. Let me go in. And Rich Rod's just like, no.
Yeah.
And then he puts them in. Like, I think it wasn't. He didn't even start the drive. He came in on like a second or third down in the middle of a drive, and then because if we win that game, if he goes to the national championship, win or lose, you can't leave Morgantown.
No.
You can't.
No.
You can't go to the championship and then be like, okay, I'm going to take this other job instead.
Yeah. Man, my thing is, I watched a documentary that ESPN had put out. It was not long after it, and it's even known now that him and the athletic director, it was Ed Pascalone, I think, was the athletic director at the time. Of course, you knew about Rich Rod having the offer to go to Alabama before the year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was been a year before that. So he gets this nice little extra contract, which at the time is chunk change, compared to now.
Yeah.
But he wanted full control of the football program, which now, Dana had it, they all have it now. And Neil Brown has it, and he wanted that. He knew what Washington needed to do to compete to be able to be a top program. So him and that, they are having disconnects there, and so I think they didn't really talk hardly at all towards the end. So I think there was some distance there. And my only thing is that I say that he did not blow it on purpose, which I do think he probably knew about the Michigan job before. I do think that. But what really makes me think no is why would somebody that was born and raised in West Virginia, went to Morgan, went to Doveview, played football there and everything, and has an opportunity to go to a national championship game, which Washington hadn't been to one before that since 1988. This is 2007. And Washington's never won a national title game. And I will say this, anyone that they would have played, whether it had been Missouri, Ohio State, whoever, West Virginia would have won that game. Well, I don't think no one could have beat West Virginia that year. I don't think anyone. I just don't say it.
LSU ended up winning it. Who did they play that year?
Played Ohio State that year.
Okay, yeah. So it would have been Ohio State and WVU.
Yeah, and LSU got in with 2 losses. If that tells you anything, that 2007 year was crazy losses, crazy upsets.
Have you ever watched? They did a YouTube video on it, like the craziest year of college football ever.
Yeah,
it was something like at one point 5 or 6 straight weeks the number 1 or number 2 team lost, and in total like 10 number 2s or 10 number 1s lost that season.
Oh, dude, it was. Let me see if I can find it here.
Like, what should tell you it's crazy is at one point Kansas was like 9-0 or 10-0.
Dude, it was there at the end because Missouri played Kansas. There towards the end, they were both
top 5, I think.
Yeah, let me find this here. This is all right. All right, so week 13. This is November 25th. Missouri was number 1. This is the week for the pit game. So Missouri was number 1. Washington was number 2. Ohio State number 3. Georgia was number 4. Kansas, no, it was week 13. That was November 18th. Kansas was 11-0 and ranked 2nd in the AP poll.
Okay, that was.
And they lost to Missouri, and then Missouri jumped in and went number 1. Okay, so, yeah, that's tells you anything right there. Holy. Let's see who else might be up here.
There were so many teams that made it up to the top of the rankings that season.
California.
Yeah.
California was, and this is week 6, so it's October 7th. So, I mean, it's still pretty early. They were 5-0, ranked 2nd.
Yeah.
That's South Florida even.
Yeah,
South Florida ended up
'cause
beating us that year.
yeah, I actually went to that game.
Yeah.
You know, that actually might be worse than the Pitt game because not only did we lose, but I had to go from South Florida back to West Virginia afterwards.
That's a long 14 hours right there.
Yeah,
However long
well,
it is, yeah.
we flew, so it
Oh,
wasn't quite that long, but I mean, we still made the trip.
man, that was a fun college football season and the aspect of things, upsets and everything. Let's see real quick. I just want to see who was. I mean, this is the top 5 preseason poll. USC number 1, LSU number 2, West Virginia number 3, Texas 4, and Michigan 5. That was the preseason. So, um,
Yeah, I think we finished that season, what, like fifth maybe? Because we fell pretty.
6th.
Okay, we fell
Yeah.
pretty far when we lost to Pitt. Then we went into the Sugar Bowl against Georgia, huge underdogs, and just blew them out in that first quarter.
Well, that was that would have been 05. That
Oh yeah, no, never
yeah,
mind. I mean,
Oklahoma. You're
Oklahoma,
part, yeah.
we still blew them out early on.
Yeah, see, I do think, man, to that Georgia game is that Phil Brady fake punt, and Rich Rod knew
Oh,
that.
it
He
was the play of the
knew
game.
if Georgia got the ball back, because you could tell the difference, man. Georgia's one of the best programs in the in the country. They got depth. We didn't have shit. That's why we got up so quick on them, and Georgia came all the way back,
Yeah,
and
I
Rich
mean
Rod knew. Yeah,
we were up 28-0, and then you get a few minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's 38-35.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if Georgia got the ball back to end that game, then we would have lost.
Probably, yeah, because
you
I
couldn't
mean,
stop them in the second half.
mm-mm.
I mean, so, but no, man, that was a fun, man. Um, but no, man, it's think that we'll have to. But yeah, I do thank you for coming on today, though, man. We got right around hour and 2 minutes here.
Yeah,
But
it's a pretty good
yeah,
join you.
yeah, man, I'm glad you came on and everything, and we'll have to definitely get you back on and everything. But real quick before we do get off here, I do want to thank Zach Williams for coming on the show today. I do thank you for the continued support through everything. This episode will be on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and YouTube. But other than that, thanks for coming on, man. I do appreciate it.
No problem. It was fun, man. Glad I could join you.
Yeah, man. We'll catch back up on Epstein once all that shit comes back out and everything. So
I still have so much more to talk about with Tesla and Elon.
hey, man, listen, I'm gonna get you back on soon. I know we kind of got sidetracked there a little bit, but yeah, man. Anytime we'll get you back on here. We'll talk some shit.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right, man. Peace.
Later.